David DJ Lloyd. I really enjoyed talking to DJ out of the Washington DC area. He is a career coach. He helps people move to different careers, move within their position to different positions. He wrote a great book, the manual. It's offered in on Amazon, and really interesting, interesting perspective on what to do when you're in a career. How do you move up? How do you know first find out what you want before you ask for it? Very, very important um, thing to do. People often say, well, I want a raise. Well, what do you want? Well, I don't know. His faith and his spirituality plays a large role in everything that he does, and he incorporates it into his coaching, but it's not mandatory for the client or the recipient to to acknowledge and to adhere. It's an interesting philosophy. We talk about the success, what's stopping people's success: fear, procrastination. I don't want to tell you the third. How to start being successful: vision, faith, and trust. And you'll learn what the third is. He was in the military, in the Marines for 4 years, and his insight on discipline is very unique. I've never heard this take, but I'll tell you that he couples it with purpose in a very meaningful way. Thanks for listening. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz. People ask me, how did I lose 130 pounds? The quick answer is always discipline. I started my business, wasn't paying attention to my health, was eating too much, drinking too much sweets. My daughter was born. Next thing I know, I'm pre-diabetic, I have hypertension. I knew something had to change. Discipline. I, like many of you, have faced many challenges in your career, in your family, in your life, in your faith. How did you attack them? How did you approach them? How did you solve them, hopefully? It all had to have some degree of discipline. I'm also asked, how did you found and start a tech business that lasted over 25 years? Discipline. I was committed to it, enjoyed technology, didn't enjoy some aspects of it, but knew it was necessary. Discipline. Our podcast mission: how do we use discipline to better ourselves and society? Join me, please, as I talk to interesting people and discuss how they use discipline in their family, in their passion, in their careers, and how it helped them. Our podcast vision: growth through learning from others. Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. It'll be light and serious. Join us, please. Thank you for consideration. I'm very excited to talk to you, David DJ Lloyd. Thank you so much for your time today. Excited to talk. So why should we have a career coach?
Well, I think coaching is, I always say to people all the time, especially my clients, that a coach
Hmm.
values coaching, right? And a good coach has the phone number to a great coach. And why should you go through life through trial and error when you don't have to? You don't have to make the mistakes that the people who came before you made. Some people can help you to avoid those pitfalls, and this, to me, that's
Hmm.
the purpose of coaching. To
And
me,
coaching brings people to the next level, helps them, look into the future.
Mhm.
When somebody comes to you and wants career coaching, generally, do they have a particular problem? Can they not find a job? Are they looking to elevate themselves in their current job? How do they approach you? How do they find you?
So usually, of course, LinkedIn is a great place to find clients. But typically, the reason why people will seek coaching is because
Yeah.
they are stuck. It's something that they want that they're not getting, and they think that coaching is going to benefit them, which definitely could with the right coach. Um, Career coaching, to be specific, usually someone may be um, in the same job
Mm,
for way too long. They are seeing people surpass them, and their peers pass them on the job. They may be in a situation where they are no longer are enjoying the career they chose. They're ready to do something different, and they want to find a path to move from one job to a new job, and they need
mm,
some sort of guidance to do that. Of course, those are individuals who want to who are without a job and they want help um, to get one, or they need help with interviewing, negotiating salary. So that's a way to help. And just I meet people who just want to get their resume done. I just want to get my resume refreshed or revamped. Those are the easy, clients. They just want to do that as
how
well.
are the interview skills of both the interviewers and interviewees in employment these days? Is it better? Is it worse with the advent of all the technology? Are people doing it face to face? Are they doing it virtually? How is that going? Hmm.
I don't think it's going great because some people are very good at interviewing face to face. And sometimes it can be difficult interviewing
Mm.
over a Zoom meeting or a team meeting. So so it could it could throw people through a curveball, and so I mean you have to understand. So most
Right.
people are not
Mm.
professional interviewees. They, hope you're not interviewing for jobs all the time. Hopefully,
Good
it's
point.
something that happens every once in a while. So if so, therefore, you're not going to probably be that skilled at talking about yourself, your work experience to someone for a job opportunity, because it doesn't necessarily come up very often until
Hmm.
it's time to find a new job. So most people are not going to be very good at interviewing. And that's fine. You shouldn't be, because if you are, then that's probably a sign that you're having a way more difficult time finding job opportunities if you are always interviewing for jobs and you're not getting them. So what we try to do is make sure that when you start interviewing for positions, you're not getting warmed up. 'Cause usually that first
Mm.
interview is kind of hard, and then by the second, third interview, you feel like, okay, I'm ready to do it. But we want you to be prepared on the first interview. So we want to get you warmed up so that that first interview you're already comfortable talking about yourself and
And
your
does
skills.
a virtual interview benefit the interviewee or not? Is it better to do face to face or virtual, in your opinion?
I think either one of them can be beneficial
Mm.
if you know how to use them to your advantage. Um, if you're meeting with someone face to face, that's great because therefore you get a idea of the environment you're going to be in if they're actually interviewing you at the location you're going to be working.
Mm.
You get a chance to see the person's office and see what kind of, sometimes you look at their office and see what kind of disarray or how organized they are. And then on a Zoom call or a team meeting where it's just virtual, there may be still things that you can see in the background that the person wants you to see. They want you to see maybe their degree, or they want you to see their little puppy,
Hmm.
a picture of the dog in the back, or something. I've been on interviews where no one wanted to turn their cameras on, and there was a job that I definitely wanted to turn down because I feel like that's so
Yeah.
important that I see your face if I'm trying to decide it's where I want to work. So that was a job that I definitely said no
Hmm.
thank you to. So so still, either one, there are indicators there to let you know, is this the environment that I want to
Yeah,
be
and I
in?
think I'm in the tech field, so there's a lot of remote working. There's a lot of virtual and there's a lot of remote working. So there's seldom any face to face, which is too bad. But that's just the way
Mm,
the economy is rolling, and just there's low unemployment now, and it's an employee's
mhm.
it's an employee's time to pick a great career and a job. Hopefully, you've got a lot of great content, and you do a podcast, you interview, you have YouTube, you've got a lot of great
Mhm,
content. One I particularly liked is where you talked about
mhm,
uh, well, you talked about building your resume in one, it was very good. Another one was where you talked about just success and, the what's stopping people from succeeding and then what's starting. With the stopping, you said the top three were fear, procrastination, and perfectionism. It was fascinating discussion you had there. Can you
mhm.
elaborate?
Well, I definitely want to start
Mm,
with perfectionism. Especially with having a podcast. My podcast, "What's Up with DJ" podcast. Uh, what was so difficult to get it off the ground was I had a certain idea in my head about how it was going to look, and the guests that I wanted on the show, and how I was going to speak, and all these things. And then when it wasn't
mm,
happening, then you just stop, right? Because of disappointment. And that's the biggest thing people will stop. People stop the show is having all these expectations about how things
mm,
supposed to be. You have to let that go. You have to just start recording. Even with you have a podcast, that okay, everything's not going to be perfect, but I have to still press the record button anyway and keep the show going, because number one thing is consistency. So get away from perfectionism, just do it. And as you do it, um you find techniques and ideas that make you better by making mistakes. So you have to get over that. And I had criticisms when I first started. People say, "Oh, this is wrong, and that's not right, and this should be this way." And you say, "Well, thank you. I appreciate the feedback." And I looked at the feedback, and some of it was useful, and some of it wasn't, and you kept moving forward. So don't be afraid to make mistakes, just as long as you're learning from them and you are getting better. So that's one of
mm,
the I think is really important. Fear is a big one, because we hate change. I think human beings just don't, we don't necessarily gravitate towards change very easily most of the time. And we like being in our comfort zone. But if we're not changing, we're not growing, we're not moving forward. So we have to get over that. It's a great book by Suzanne Jeffries, written years ago, called "Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway." So that's something that I learned years ago, that even if you're afraid, if there's fear, that's not an excuse not to move forward.
mm.
Still do it anyway. And the second one that you mentioned, because I'm doing it out of order. Did the third one first, the first one second, then the second one that you said. I
Procrastination.
think it was procrastinate. Oh, that's a big one too. Um,
Mm,
Procrastination is no one's best friend, right? It's the biggest thing that stops a lot of things. But what's this? What I bumped into. When it comes to
mm,
procrastination, just do the fun stuff first. If there's something that you don't want to do, and there's some fun pieces of it, just do the parts that you like first. And when I have found out that when I do the parts that I like first, then I get so the juice is flowing, and I'm more prone to start work on the
mm,
pieces that I don't like, you know. So if you think about, just do the parts that you like first, and after and tell yourself, if I don't feel like doing more after I do the parts that I like, then I'll stop. I have no intention on doing the parts that I hate today. And what that frees you up from is trying to force yourself to do things
mm.
that you just do not want to do, which I think is self brutality in a way. And that's what happens with that is you teach yourself to continue not doing things that you don't want to do. So definitely stop that. Do the things that you want to do first, and you will find out that it becomes easier gravitating towards the things that you do enjoy doing, that you don't
Yeah,
like doing.
procrastination is a tough one. I believe I might be mistaken. One day last week was National Procrastinators Week Day, and I still haven't celebrated it. Now that's a little joke, but and then
Yeah, yeah. You're procrastinating on
That's right.
celebrating
That's right.
procrastination
And then
week.
in the
Yeah, I love
same
that.
video, you mention how to start being successful. I mean, this is a great advice that you're offering on your podcast, on the YouTube, and to start succeeding, you talk about vision, trust, and faith, and gratitude.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely trust, because trust is the opposite of actually having fear, you know. And so just it's the opposite. You just need to trust that I'm going to move forward. I'm going to do, and also,
Mm,
other side of trust is faith, that you have to have faith as well. So if there's something that you don't trust, you don't have faith in, then that's probably a good sign that
mm,
you shouldn't be doing it. When you start doing things that you really trust and have faith in, even when things are not going well, you'll continue to do them anyway. And also, I mean, I have a podcast. I love podcasting. I've been doing podcasting in
yeah.
some kind of way over the last 10 years, and it's been stop and go, stop and go. But what I learned is that once you decide this is what you want to do, and I'm going to fall in love with it, I don't have to think about it. I'm thinking about it in the middle of the night, like who is going to be my next guest, and editing the next video, and the music I'm going to choose, and how can I make it better. So because I chose something that I love, and I think once you do that, it makes it a lot easier. So when I see people who are having a hard time, especially when it comes to things like your side hustle, which is my podcast, is my side hustle, and I'm having trouble wanting to do it, it's like, well, maybe this is not what you should be doing. So that's maybe some things you might want to look into, in terms of trust and faith. And the third one you said, I always have that one of them that
Vision
I'm
and
having
gratitude.
difficulty remembering. Vision and gratitude. So when it comes to vision, you got to have, what is the end result? What is the outcome you want to achieve? And as a career coach, I had a client, and she was working. She actually at the time didn't have a job, and she wanted to change her career, and all of this during
Oh,
COVID. I'm like, you want to do a lot during COVID. You want to change your career. You're currently unemployed. You want to find a job, and you also want to look for a job that's totally outside of anything you've ever done. She had a dream job of being
hmm,
a meteorologist, and I said, okay, well, this is your vision for yourself. This is the goal that you want to achieve, and I said, not going to happen in a year. And we came up with a plan that was going to, through a series of, just jobs and getting more education and research, get her to this place. And she did. She just recently got, it's been 2 years, but she got a job,
hmm,
in meteorology. So the whole thing is about just having a vision, having this is the outcome that I want for myself. It doesn't have to be perfect, because we're not aiming for perfection. We're aiming for an idea. And as we move closer to it, we will begin to chisel and make it perfect, in a way. And gratitude, one and also I'm a
yeah.
spiritual coach, meaning that I apply spiritual principles to whoever I'm coaching. So we're going to do it, incorporate the law of attraction. We're going to incorporate these spiritual principles into whatever we're doing. And I was explaining to her that the universe loves gratitude. If you want to, speed anything up in terms of your goals, apply gratitude. And it's difficult, waking up in the morning, like I was saying this morning, like waking up instead, you want to say, thank you, God, when we wake up in the morning. And sometimes we wake up, we say, oh my God,
Mm,
when we wake up in the morning. But shifting that into gratitude and being thankful, even though things are not going perfectly, we can still look and try to find something that is going well, you know. They look at whatever you possibly can. It may be something as little as, you know, I'm breathing, and then that can grow. That gratitude grows, and whatever you are finding gratitude in terms of your goals, it begins to flourish as well. It's a secret. It's a very very
Mm,
guarded secret about gratitude, about finding gratitude in your goals and being thankful. So some people will achieve a goal, and I've done this, achieve a goal and keep it moving. What's next on the list? What's
mm.
what's the next thing that I need to check off? Instead of stopping, and when you even the smallest minute goal, stop for a moment and say, wow, I did that. And breathe and take it in. And I think sometimes we just don't do that. And it's a very unfortunate thing, because by not doing that, what you're going to end
Hmm.
up doing is burning yourself out.
Gratitude is an important element to success in life, be it professionally and or just emotionally. You mentioned that somebody came to you wanted to be a meteorologist. So let's just examine this for a moment. So I assume there's a lot of training involved. There's education. Like, I think you said it was a her? Did she have a background in it at all? How do you get from A to B when it seems like such a by the way, a small audience? There's not
Yeah.
many
Uh,
meteorologists, right? How does that
wow.
happen?
Yeah. That takes some
That's
really
yeah.
manifestation skills, right? Some real true law of attraction. Um, and really, she had a degree. She had a degree, and she had been doing jobs outside of
I
that
see.
for 20 years. She kept saying, I've done everything but that, and I wasted 20
Wow.
years of my life. She kept saying. I said, you haven't wasted anything. You Everything that
Hmm.
you've done is getting you to where you're supposed to be or where you want to be. All those jobs that you've held prepares you for what's next. And you have to see it that way. You have to tap into that, because you keep saying I can't, it won't happen. It won't. And so what she began to do is look at all the skills that she had accumulated over 20 years and apply that to how can you bring that to meteorology. And she had done jobs in terms, like, back in the day when they were doing all these websites and things. She's done web development, and now that social media is taking off, she's done um, branding for companies and their social media presence, and she's done that. She's done all types of jobs for nonprofit organizations. She worked for that. So take all of that. So she took all those skills and found a job that was looking for a meteorologist that had a background in website development, that had background in
Hmm.
social media presence. All those skills that she had over the last 20 years, they needed somebody with that. And that's probably more important than all the
Wow.
scientific things. And also, she was willing to go back to school and learn things that she didn't know. So and all that took an account that the job looked at. They looked at, okay, this person's interested and delving deeper into meteorology, and we are trying to definitely beef up our social presence.
Hmm.
So all those things were taken into account. So it's not like she's going to be leading a meteorologist team. It's a somewhat an entry level position in terms of meteorology. But I said to her, "This is your
Hmm.
foot into the door," and she took it.
It's a great story. And you help people with job promotion. So walk me through that. Somebody's at a job and they want a promotion, and do you discuss, do you reenact the conversations? How do you help people getting job promotions?
So usually when people come to me about, and I think every person sort of um, believes that the reason why I'm not getting promotions because of what they are
Mm.
doing to me. They don't know my value. when the truth is you don't know your
Hmm.
value. That's usually what we know. We the conversation we're
Hmm.
going to eventually have that you're going to have to know your value instead of wanting people to, and that what keeps people stuck, you know. And so, how we move you to a promotion, like, well, what do you want? What's the position that you want, and how much money you want to make in that position? So, asking these questions, and the number answer I get,
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know. So when you don't know, then it's going to be very more. It's going to make it very, very difficult for you to get what you want. So we get very clear about where you want to be, and usually what
Hmm.
pisses people off the most is when one of their peers, is somebody they don't like, somebody they think is unqualified, gets the
Mm.
position that they want, and that's when they go, "Ah, I can't believe this." I'm going to get a career coach, and that's the wrong energy, because it's not that you really wanted the position, you just didn't want them to get the position. So it goes back to, what is it that you want? What is the underlining thing that's going on here? Is it really about you wanting the promotion? Was it really about you in a job that doesn't respect you? That's usually probably what it is, that they're in a job that doesn't respect them or undervalues them. So, is this about transitioning out of this job? Does it mean that you need to go into business for yourself? I mean, what is it that is the underlining desire here for a person who truly wants to be promoted in that sense? Um, and you're not getting it. um, some people are waiting for people to pull them up, to say, you're the one that we want to pull up today. It doesn't work that way. You don't wait for someone to come and get you and say, you're the one, we're going to pull you up. You need to go to your management team. You need to go to your supervisor and say, what positions are available? I'm ready to move up. I'm looking for, it doesn't have to happen today, but I'm looking for an opportunity to move up in my career. And believe it or not, I would say most of the time, that's really all that it takes. You're
Hmm.
making it vocal that you're ready to move on. Most of the time, people do not tell their supervisors they're ready to move up. They don't. They think they're supposed to just know. So that's the biggest piece. And of course, if there's competition, say there's a position out there, and then everyone in the office wants it, and you're trying to make yourself more competitive in terms of the getting that promotion, then we need to have a discussion about what's going on in that office, if it's worth even you attempting to go through all the things that you have to go through in order to get that position. Do you think they're going to hire someone on the outside? How, so it's certain things that I want to ask you to find out what's going on, because
Hmm.
every situation is different.
DJ, why did you go into career coaching?
So I wrote a book called
Yeah,
The
on
Job
Amazon.
Promotion Manual
Yep.
in 2019. Yes, on Amazon. And I wasn't sure I'm going to write about. I'm going to write about spiritual laws, but a friend talked me out of that and said, "No, what have you been helping people do? What have you been? I've been helping people with their resumes, and people will come to me with their job questions." And I'm like, I didn't ask them to come to me. They found me and asked me about these questions about, career development. So I said, well, that's what I've been helping people do. I've been helping people with their resumes and cover letters, and how they to move forward in their positions. And I am upset to see when people are stuck in jobs that they don't like, or they want to move ahead and they are not. And she said, let's talk about that. Let's find out more about that. So that's where I started career coaching. I said, well, instead of just doing it for
Hmm.
free,
Make a career
let's
out of it.
start charging people. So
Hmm.
yeah, make a career out of it. So that's the reason why I started career coaching. I was already helping people on some level with it, just sort of haphazardly. I knew people wanted it, people were valuing it, it was helping people. So okay, well, let's do more
How
of it.
important, you talk about a spiritual slant. How important is spirituality to you personally and to your coaching? Number one.
It's the number one thing. It's
Wow.
it's it's number one. Number one, it doesn't. It's in everything that I do. Um, so I could be sitting at home all day in meditation, but that's not going to pay my bills. But that would be great if I could do that. I could, sit in the ashram and meditate all day with incense and what they say, the bells and smells, incense and things. I would love that, but my life doesn't, I actually um need to be out doing, work, being around people and working with people and helping people as well. So when you have a lot of spiritual knowledge, how do you, it's great that you are accumulating all this spiritual knowledge and you get all these spiritual books you read and preach you've been to and all these things. But at some point, and they benefited my life, but is that's not good enough at some point. Some point you need to enhance the lives of others with your spiritual knowledge. And so my coaching does that. My consulting, I do that. I apply it. I don't walk in there and say, okay, we're going to do this the spiritual way. I don't do it that way, but some clients are, they're looking for a coach, a career coach that does have
Mm,
a spiritual foundation, and then the others who don't care about it at all. And either is fine. But and if you do have that, then great, because we speak the same language. But if you don't, then we can still work together. But I do let you know that, hey, there are these spiritual principles that we need to be aware of. We need to be aware of the law of attraction, gratitude, faith, trust, all those things that you mentioned before. And that may mean that we don't move forward, and that's totally fine. I don't want to judge that, but I do let people know that, look, there's a whole world that we need to of spiritual dynamics they need to be aware of, and we need to apply, because just trying to get everything through brute force, what people do, I'm going to just run, try to make things happen, and that's great, but it does have its pitfalls with that
mm.
kind of approach.
Very interesting. And if has it happened where somebody said, "Look, I am I'm an atheist. I don't believe in spirituality. I don't want to work with you." Has it happened?
I don't have a problem with the atheist. I think an
Yeah.
atheist can be spiritual as well. You don't have to believe in there's some kind of higher God or something like that to be, to see that there are certain things going on around you. You can call it whatever you want. So I don't feel that if someone said I'm an atheist, I think that you have to be open to a larger possibility. And sometimes people who are very scientific are very open to things
Right.
that people who are very spiritual aren't, you know?
Mm.
So it's about how much can you let in? That's the question that I would want to ask. I had a client one time, and I said to her, I said, she had a big decision she wanted to make about a job. And I said, just go to, we'll cut this meeting short, sleep on it, and tomorrow we'll talk again tomorrow, and let me know what, you come up with, how you feel about it tomorrow. And she said, why do I need to sleep on it? I said, because
There's
it's a
right.
level of clarity that
Yeah.
happens by sleeping, and it just baffled her. It's like, I don't know, why would I even, what is that going to do? Because everything had to be, well, her was very, like, everything
Mm.
was concrete, right? Everything was very concrete, very, this is the way that it is. And that threw her through a loop. And then, of course, I said, well, it works. Just trust me. And then the following day, we talked again, and she said, yeah, I know there's a certain level of clarity that came after I fell asleep and thought about it the next day. And some people are not open to it. I mean, she was open to it after she saw it worked, but there was still other issues that came up later that she, we kept running into that thing of, oh, why do I need to do that? Why do I need to journal? What is that about? How's that going to help me journaling? So it does sometimes throw people through a loop when you start asking them to do certain things, what's going to require some inner work, it's like, let's do the outside stuff. That's the stuff that I'm used to doing. I'm safe doing.
Hmm.
Let's not look at the inside. Forget
You have an
that.
excellent 5-minute meditation video, that I went through and I enjoyed it. How did you get introduced to meditation and, how does it influence what you do and you practice today?
Yes, I've been meditating for years, and sometimes I do it every day, and some days I'm like, I'm trying to break down, and like I need to meditate. And but I've been doing it for years, and I don't know how I first heard about it, but I've been doing it since I'm 45 now. I've been doing it since I was in my
Wow.
teens, even when I didn't know what it was called. And then when I was in my
Mm,
20s, I'm like, oh, this is what I've been doing the whole time. I've been meditating, and so I just got quiet. I got quiet and just began trying to just focus on my breathing instead of all the crazy thoughts that were going through my head. And it took some time before you know I understood how to quiet it and what to do. But eventually, I began to, as I began meditated more, I understood all the different sort of things that happen when you're meditating, the monkey mind that happens, and the different forms of meditation that are out there. So, in the meditation the 5 minute meditation, I wanted to incorporate that because I, of course, know the value of meditating. But when you are in this busy life and you got so many things going on in terms of our goals and wanting to achieve them, and we don't stop and get silent, then unfortunately we miss a big component to our lives to get that clarity. And some, just like I was talking about just getting a proper night of
mm.
sleep can really benefit your clarity. And I didn't say meditate to her, because I would have asked her to meditate. She probably would have been like, okay, this guy's lost it. So I said sleep because I knew that was probably something that hopefully made more sense to her. It didn't, but but really what I wanted to say to her is go home, go, let's stop this meeting, take 15 minutes and
Hmm.
meditate. That's what I really wanted to say to her, because I knew that was going to open a space where you can get some clarity and say, okay, is this the right job for me? Am I, what could it, I think her job, her interview was a like a Zoom meeting, and she had a couple of opportunities that were being offered to her, and she didn't know which one to take. And I said, just stop for a moment and get quiet, and you can get some greater clarity about which opportunity on the table is the best one, where you're going to be the most comfortable. And so that's what meditation does for you. It allows you to tap into some things that may not be easily accessible without it.
It's a common thread that the people that I talk to and that excel like yourself, that are, that do wonderful things that help others, is meditation and journaling. It's just a common. I
Mm,
started doing it. I kind of go on and off, but I do feel much better afterwards. It's a nice, kind of mental and breathing workout. So on the podcast, I always bring up discipline, DJ. I lost a bunch of weight when I was younger. Doctor said, you're not gonna,
mm,
I gained all this weight because I started my business. Doctor said, you're not gonna see your daughter graduate. It's all I had to hear, and I just turned everything around. I lost a lot of weight, and people always ask me how'd you do it? Like there's some secret, like, some
mm.
silver bullet, and there's not. You've got to just focus. You got to eat less and exercise. There's no mystery. And but I always say just discipline. How would I lose weight? Just discipline and focus. And I wonder how discipline plays a role in your life.
Well, discipline um, is sometimes difficult. Sometimes it's easy. I'm trying to lose 20 pounds myself, and that's not easy because I enjoy. Sugar is my biggest enemy, and I love a great cup of coffee with some delight in it in the morning. And sometimes like on my second or third cup, like, oh, this is not what I should be doing. And as you know, as you get older,
Mhm.
running gets a little bit more difficult. And so sometimes you have to stop and say, what's most important to me right now? Is the cup of coffee more important to me? Getting to the gym is more important to me. But what I'm
Mhm.
not going to do is beat myself up, because that's not going to solve anything. That's just self brutality that you're doing. And sometimes you got to ask you, well, what is it that I want? Okay, I want to be physically fit. Like yourself, you say, I want to definitely see my daughter get older. I want to see her become a woman. I want to see my grandchildren. So, so that was more important to you than continue eating what you were eating, like you were eating before. To me right now, comfort food, having that comfort cup of coffee in the morning is more important. And that's nothing's wrong with that right now. But of course, as I move forward, something has to say, okay, well, you what is the outcome that you want? How do
Mm.
you see yourself a year from now? And then that has to be the thing. But discipline is why I was in the Marine Corps for four
Right.
years. I know all about discipline. Um, and but what you have to do is it's a balance you have to look at, because brute force will get you very far. Will pushing yourself as I'm going to get this done, and I'm going to. But what I've discovered, that's great in certain situations to get it done. But is it going to are you going to be able to um is it going to maintain, or is it going to be consistent? Is it going to be something that you're going to be able to at some point? Discipline is a great tool. It'll get you far, but it will
Hmm.
not sustain you. It won't. You will have to at some point get to a place where it's something greater than discipline, and it
Hmm.
has to be purpose. It's going to have to take place after discipline, because if you don't have purpose, then it falls apart, right? So when I'm thinking about discipline, I say, okay, I got to get this done. I think about discipline in terms like this:
Hmm.
discipline short term, to get short term goals done. Purpose is how you get long term goals done. And using those two things together, you can move mountains.
What I've never heard that before. I'm writing it down. Yeah, so you want to couple discipline
Oh.
with purpose. So you want to kind of use it as a vehicle to drive purpose. It's fascinating when I talk to people about discipline. I often get pushback and say, passion is more important, or compassion is more important, or like what you're saying, you need
Mhm.
purpose to get where you need to go. But your remedy is you still need discipline to get there. When you coach, your clients, do you demand or do you require? Is it important for them to have a certain level of self discipline?
Because one of the first things I want to give you is an assessment, a self-assessment. It talks about what your goals are, your long-term goals, where you see yourself in 6 months, and in a month, and 3 months, and 6 months, in a year. Where do you see yourself? And if you don't get that done, then I know you're not ready. Because if I can't get you to play a part in your own success, then what's going to happen? I know I've had clients that had trouble getting the assessments done, and um it will take longer for me to get you to where you need to be. And mind you,
Mm.
this is not free. So, I don't want to be charging you, money, and then, 3 months down the line, we got very little done. So I definitely want within 3 months to say, hey, okay, we got all these things checked off. We got all these things done in 3 months. Do we need to take another 3 months to get more things done? But if a client looks at 3 months and I've been paying for this, coaching, and for 3 months, and I got only a little thing done, they're
Mm.
gonna start blaming you, the coach. Like, I've been with you 3 months. And well, number one, you haven't done the work. You haven't applied
Mm.
the discipline that's needed to do the work to get the results that you want. So it will cut. So the client has the tendency to blame the coach when they haven't had the discipline to do the work. So I'm very clear about that. That if you're not doing the work, then we can't continue working together because I'm not going to be blamed. And also, that client is not going to give you a recommendation. That client not going to refer you to anybody else. So you're wasting your time ultimately. So without that discipline, then you
Hmm.
really don't have a client. So I have to see that drive. I have to see that discipline that you're going to get the assessments done and
Hmm.
you're going to do the work that I'm asking you to do.
David DJ Lloyd, what motivates you?
Inspiration motivates me. Being inspired, because every day I try to find something to inspire me. I don't care what it is. It could be a flower. It could be my cat that's running around here now. Well, he's actually sleeping now. But finding something to a song, a movie, a scene from a movie that I found on YouTube, a quote, finding something to
Hmm.
inspire you every single day is what motivates me.
And how do you measure success?
By joy. And when I complete a goal, how much joy does it bring me, or how much joy I think it's going to bring me? That's how I measure success. Because and success can be kind of tricky, because sometimes we think about success and we get what we want in terms of a goal, and we're
Mm.
tired by the time we're done with it. And you find out that really that wasn't, it didn't feel like success, because I believe that success should feel like success. So when I know that I have reached a certain level of success in terms of, whatever it is that I wanted to achieve, how much joy is it bringing me? And that's how I measure it. Mm. Yes, I was saying that, and one thing about questions, I always say, doing it over, you always do it better, right? But how I measure success is definitely my level of joy. How many times have we set a goal, we achieved it, and success didn't feel like success, right? Maybe the people around us felt joy because of that success, but we didn't feel it ourselves. I got tired of that happening, of me meeting a goal, everyone's patting me on the back, and I'm feeling just exhausted. That's the only thing that I'm
Mm.
feeling. And so I really began to understand that I need to maybe go back and realign about how I'm creating my goals, because I want to also feel that sense of joy that everyone else is feeling when I achieved a goal. So my definitely how I um, look at what is success is how much joy does that goal bring me, or the idea of getting that goal,
Hmm.
and also how much joy is it bringing me getting to the goal, because that's really the trick, right? The trick is you're not enjoying the process of getting there, then probably once you get there, it's not going to be so rewarding.
Hmm. Well said. Well, DJ, I really enjoyed our time. When I saw that you accepted this, I like doing research. I like the content. I like your podcast. You do a really good job of talking to people. I like the advice that you're giving to people in their careers. It's a really, really big point with me because even though unemployment's low and there's a lot of jobs out there, I don't know if people are happy in them. And finding somebody like yourself that can help navigate through another position within the company or into another company, it's really important. How can we get in
Mhm.
touch?
You can email me at dj@whatsupwithdj.com. That's a really easy way to get a hold of me. You can visit my website at dlloydjr.com. That's DJ, I'm sorry, it's DLLOYDJR.com. And yeah, that's the number one ways to get a hold of me.
Very good. And we'll put links up in the show notes. Of course, your book is on Amazon. I encourage
Mhm.
people to take a look at that. Your LinkedIn and Facebook. I'll put that all up in the show notes. DJ, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And next time in DC, we'll get a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I would love that.
You be well.
I'll take care.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pin's Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypins.com. There you find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information. The video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Would you like to financially support the podcast? You can go to our Patreon site. Consider $5, $10, or $20 a month. There's all kind of plans that we have there. It's like a one-time payment. What is this podcast episode worth to you? $25, $50, $100, $500, $1,000, $5,000. You be the judge. You can go to our PayPal account to do that as well. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Disciplined Conversations.